The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
And welcome, wrestling fans, to the Ice Hour. This podcast is aimed at promoting the world of Division III college wrestling and is named for the late Hall of Fame coach Dave Eisenhower. Here we'll talk about topics and news that's relevant to those who compete for the love of the sport in Division III. The Ice Hour is sponsored by My House Sports Gear. Check out their line of wrestling gear and apparel at myhousesportsgear.com. Subscribe using your favorite podcasting app by going to matttalkonline.com/ice.
Now up on episode 21 of the Ice Hour, a D3 Wrestling podcast. We're actually going to go back to basically the origins of the name of this show. The show, of course, named after the late TCNJ head coach Dave Eisenhower. Joining us on the program today is the current head coach of the College of New Jersey, Joe Galante. Joe, welcome to the program.
JB, thanks so much for having me.
All right, let's just start with the genesis of this program was an idea that John McGovern had to do a D3 show and wanted to name it after the late coach Dave Eisenhower. Let's just talk a little bit about what Coach Eisenhower meant to wrestling, not yet to TCNJ, because we got a lot to talk about there, but from your vantage point to see what he meant to the world of Division III wrestling.
I just think Ice was iconic. He helped young coaches get a grasp on the sport, learn how to mentor their athletes, and just kind of learn the way that coaches should be and act. Coach was exemplary for how he treated people and what he did for others. So he was endlessly doing favors and making phone calls and just connecting everyone. He was just exemplar.
So when we look at your career, when you get into coaching, even before you get into coaching, you wrestled Division III at TCNJ. We're in the national finals, a two-time All-American. Coming out of Ocean City, New Jersey, in a one-class state, which is the way I think it should be individually, and you chose to go to TCNJ. What was the draw for you to Ewing, New Jersey, of all places?
Beautiful Ewing. We love Ice. I mean, I knew Ice growing up. We definitely went to tournaments and met with him. I knew his son, and there's a great buzz around the team at that time. Great assistant coaches, and I knew that they were seeking out tough competition, get you ready for the end of the season, and they were going to help me reach my goals, which was obviously what I was looking to do leaving high school.
All right, so coming out of high school, your career starts at Ryder, and then you end up at TCNJ. What was the decision eventually to go one place and then end up finishing another?
I think the main thing is I wanted to go to Ryder and wrestle with my teammates. So a great group of guys coming out of there, and Bobby Stinson, Ryan Cunningham, Dave Miller, all guys from South Jersey. Wanted to be on the team with them and really make some noise. And that was great for the 2 years. I wasn't happy chasing a major that I wasn't sure on, and I really wanted to be a teacher and a coach. So I moved over to TCNJ and did health and phys ed, and it was ended up being a great choice and someplace that I enjoyed being. It was a healthy atmosphere, and again helped me to reach my goals just because I was in a good place around good people. Still got to be friends with the Ryder guys. It's 5 minutes down the road, so it was the best of both worlds, and kind of never looked back. It was a tough decision, but one that I took seriously and just kind of followed through with. So good friends with John still and Coach Taylor. We've run camps before in the past, and I have a lot of respect for those guys. Just obviously congratulations to Coach Taylor on an unbelievable career, and the best of luck to Hange. I think he's going to do a great job. They've got some awesome things going over there. I love rooting for those guys, and I can catch at least one or two dual meets a year. I'm always rooting for them at nationals. So proud of what they're doing right here in Mercer County.
Yeah, I've actually got for those who don't know, this is a story that Joe and I have. Is a couple years ago, I think it was 2 summers ago. You guys are having camp with Hange down there in Jersey. Mike Denver, who's one of your national champions, was one of the clinicians too. And you're drawing names out of a hat based on a social media contest, and my name got pulled. And this was by no shenanigans on you or Hange's part. But so now I got a pair of these sweatpant type long shorts that say Trenton State Wrestling. And these things are relics, man. So, I don't have anything. I have a nice pullover that says TCNJ, and I have a nice pair of shorts that say Trenton State. How many people in New Jersey still call TCNJ Trenton State?
You know what? It's definitely by just kind of how you know the college and your experience with it. So I love talking about Trenton State. I love talking about the old times because it was obviously what the athletics department, and I feel like somewhat what the college was built on. We're definitely a known academic institution, but when sports started getting big and winning national titles, Trenton State really became, a focal point in New Jersey and in the NCAA scene. So when they started doing that, people know it as Trenton State, and it's nice to talk about that and those memories. But TCNJ has also done some great things. So special to talk about where we've been and where we're going. But I definitely, you got to retweet me, man. If you put those sweats on, you'll definitely get a couple of retweets from our community. We're seeing some Trenton sweats.
Yeah, it's definitely old school. I remember getting them in the mail. I'm like, oh, dude. And they are ugly, but man, they are comfortable. I'll tell you that. They're not. I don't think I'm going to mow the yard in these things. Those are the lay around the house and watch Netflix shorts. I tell you that. Now, as we get to your career as an athlete, two-time All-American, you made the national finals, and I asked this to a lot of coaches that didn't hit that championship level, that marker, the top of the podium. How much does that drive you to try to be more successful for your kids than you were yourself?
I think it's important. Definitely lessons that I've learned, and the style that I coach is a little bit different than I wrestled, but still has some of the similarities. So I'm trying to take away some of the positive things it's doing, and definitely learn from the negatives, and try and tell the guys the story without hammering it way too much. But it's something that I think about. I don't harp on it, but I think you can learn from your mistakes and just remember back at some of the things that I did, or some of the things that I thought. And just knowing how they're going to feel when they're standing in the tunnel, knowing how they're going to feel when they step on the mat, when they're preparing for those last couple of days before the nationals. I think those are things that, if they haven't done it and been there, then they really need someone to tell them, or at least paint the picture. And I think that's what we do a good job of, is letting those guys know the situations they're going to be in, helping them wrap their mind around it before they actually get put in the situation, and doing our best to simulate that so that when they get there, they're ready to perform their best.
Graduated in 2007, then you move into coaching. You had said you left Rider because you wanted to be a teacher and a coach. How quickly did you realize that you were probably going to end up running this program one day?
My story is I couldn't even tell you. Just the right place at the right time is what I always say, because I ended up being a teacher and a coach. I was a middle school teacher, and I enjoyed that very much. I did it for 3 seasons, and I bought a house right by TCNJ, half a mile away. And it allowed me to, teach and also come back to the college and coach. I picked a school for less money so that I could stay close to TCNJ, and that I could keep coaching college wrestling, because it's really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to get caught up in the high school scene, and the district that I was teaching in didn't have a wrestling program, so they weren't going to ask me to be the wrestling coach, which was a great thing. So I got to come back to TCNJ and do that for 3 seasons. And I was driving an hour. I was driving an hour up to the school and an hour back every day, making it just in time for practice. My buddies are making fun of me. I'm the first one to leave the house. I'm the last one to get home. I'm getting paid the least. And I did it for 3 years. After the 3 years, I walked in to talk to Coach Ice and tell him, listen, man, I gotta figure this out. I gotta live a little closer to work, or I gotta stop doing what I'm doing. How can I figure this out? And when I stepped in the office, he told me that he was retiring, that he wanted to talk about the position and if I was interested. And I told him I would quit right now. I would call my principal and tell him that I won't be coming back, and he won't see me again, and I'll do wrestling from now on. And I don't know if anybody else wanted it that bad, or the people that he talked to and offered it to. And I was just, again, real fortunate to have a position that I always wanted come right to me just by staying with it and staying in there. I think it's kind of like match tactics. When it gets to overtime, you just got to keep your head down, keep hand fighting, and look for openings. So it kind of came the same way.
Did the allure of being the head coach at TCNJ grow for you, having been an athlete there, versus, say, if you'd have gone through Rider and be like, okay, I'll be a D3 college head coach?
It's funny, because I can remember a conversation I had with Ice. We were standing right by the equipment room. There's a roll-up gate, and we were just kind of talking. We were waiting for the guys. I think they were out on a run, and we were going to give them, the wrestling shoes or something when they came back, and we were standing there. And I was looking at him, and I just said, man, you have you have the best job in New Jersey. And he looked at me and he was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good setup. This is when he was the head coach. And he looked at me and he kind of smiled. He said, I might have the best job on the East Coast. And we were talking about all positions, just how I got to do wrestling all the time and be around student athletes. And, he figured out the camp scene, which has been great and very helpful for the growth of the program, and then also allowing our families to do, special things and stay sane. So just Ice figured it out, and then he kind of drew up the blueprint, and lucky to kind of follow that and walk in those footsteps. But he always did it with a smile. He had fun, and that was neat. That was why it was so cool to be his friend and have him as a mentor, because when you got to be in conversations with him, you get to see him on an everyday basis. You starts rubbing off, and you start to see some special things, and you see yourself start to change a little bit. And when you're around Ice, you always changed for the better. You always became a little better and just had a little bit more fun. He had a great spirit, and that was neat to capture and get to be a part of.
The answer to this is probably fairly obvious, but how rough was it on you and the staff and the athletes to watch Ice go through his sickness and ultimately succumb to it?
Whew, man, it's like goosebumps, and I just got him sitting here. You might even felt him come through the line, just because when you think about him like that, I think about him like I'm still going to see him tomorrow, or like I'm going to turn the corner and he's going to be there, because he just still seems to be in our corner and kind of just above, looking over, obviously for sake of being. But it was tough, man. He calls me over to talk to him with his family, and he told me what the scoop was, and it obviously wasn't good. That was, early in the season, and we didn't really tell the guys until the season was almost over. So I was kind of living with it, and not too many people knew. He brought me in like I was another son, and that was the tough part, is that we brought him in, we built such a great relationship, and then we were going to lose him. And he did that with everybody. So everyone felt like they lost a major piece. He had guys coming from all over the country, and just to pay tribute to who he was. So anytime he built a relationship, the people knew it was special, because that's how he treated it. So I think a lot of people can relate to that, at least I hope. And I'm thinking of a couple of his buddies that I know they're nodding their head right now, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. So, difficult, but special, and gotta keep the tradition going, gotta keep the legacy going that he built, and want to do things for the right reason, the right way.
Part of some of the struggles that coaches have when they follow somebody that's set out such a tradition, and you said a legacy. When you say legendary coaches in Division III or any college division, Dave Eisenhower's name is mentioned. It's like Jim Zaleski trying to follow Dan Gable. It's like that type of comparison. How have you tried to, one, kind of carve out your own coaching style and niche while still borrowing from the respect and admiration that Coach Eisenhower had in New Jersey and the East Coast?
Yeah, I think it's tough, but at the same time, it's not something that I focus on, and people, I think, poured that on a lot more in the first couple seasons, the first couple years, and we actually did great. We had 2 top 10 seasons. We had a national champ and national finalist, so the guys made it easy right off the bat, and that was awesome, having early success, and we're still having success, having an All-American every year, having academic All-Americans, and that definitely helps, but we know he did so many good things, and all we're trying to do is organize our thoughts and make sure all the ducks are in a line. The guys are training hard, that they have the resources that they need, and try and make little improvements upon the foundation that he laid. So I don't think anything's super crazy. We talk about him a lot. We talk about the same mindset, and we did so many things well when he was the coach that it didn't make sense to change a whole lot. I think some of the inner workings of the office are obviously going to change and stuff like that, but down in the room, things are very similar. The mindset is very similar. The training style is very similar, and he allowed us to do that as assistant coaches. So it was a fairly easy transition, and I think recruiting's getting better. I think recruiting, we're getting better coaches out there. Guys are staying in New Jersey and coaching great teams and building great programs, and they're sending us their guys, and they're sending us their products. So, keeping that going, and that's how ICE built his programs. So keeping that tradition going is also very important.
In the era of hammer teams at Trenton State / TCNJ, the Division I landscape really wasn't very strong in New Jersey. Princeton had struggled with even keeping their program afloat. Rutgers was half funded, and Rider was basically the only real team that was seeing significant success. And that wasn't, a top 5 team. I mean, they had pretty good teams there in the 90s, but that was to the benefit of TCNJ, where these guys, all right, well, they felt it was a better option at the time to wrestle maybe for a tougher program than some of the D1s that were in the state. And now that Rutgers is better, Rider is seeing success, Princeton is light years better. How much has that made recruiting more difficult with the New Jersey kids?
I don't know. I don't think it's much worse. I said to ICE, I think the first year or two, I said, man, I really like recruiting. I like telling people our story, and I like telling them about TCNJ and why this place is great, and I did it and I know it, and it's a great sell. It's an easy sell. It's natural. It's organic, and I don't think that story has changed. There's nothing different. So you just have to get it to the right people. And I'm actually looking at a note on my desk that says the diamond in the rough. So we're not always looking for the state champ. We're not always looking for the guy that won the match 4-3, because even the guy that just falls short of the podium, Denver was our national champ. He wasn't recruited. He came here lucky on equal opportunity funding program, and walked into our wrestling room, was awful his first couple of years, stayed here and trained and did all the things they needed to do, and he built himself into a champion. He did it through hard work, never placed in the state. I think he qualified as a senior, but really came here with no accolades and ended up being a 3-time academic All-American and a 3-time All-American, a national champ, most dominant wrestler. So he had the resources that he needed, and I think other guys do too. I think Jordan Oliver just might have got it thrown for 4.
As you watch the U.S. Open.
You caught me. I knew it was going to come through at some point, but I've been pumped for today, man.
Oh man, that's why I'm trying to get this one. We're recording this on in the morning for me here in Minnesota on April 28th, while the U.S. Open is kicking off. I'm flying to Serbia on Saturday for the European, so we got to get this episode of the Ice Hour in for this. But I think Jordan Oliver might get thrown for 4. I'm like, what does Jordan Oliver have to do with TCNJ?
Sorry to time us there, but yeah, he just went off his back right over out of bounds, and it doesn't look pretty right now. They're conferencing over on the side. So I love freestyle.
I'm gonna have to go to Flow Wrestling as soon as we're done and edit this later. Now, as we're looking, okay, so the D1 situation hasn't really impacted recruiting, but one thing I have noticed is through this show and through covering Division III pretty extensively, at least for what I consider extensive, but since 2009, is the programs in the East Coast are getting tougher, and they're getting athletes from all over the place. And I know that, Southern Maine is drawing kids from New Jersey. Lonnie Morris has got half his team from the state of New Jersey. I mean, the kids are now seeing the benefits of a Division III opportunity, and now you're getting, some of the kids are coming in. These coaches are looking for that diamond in the rough too. They're poaching them. So how much tougher is it to keep the D3 kids in that you're eyeing as the diamonds in the rough? And they're like, hey, Lonnie Morris, get out of this gym. This is my kid.
So, yeah, absolutely, totally get that and feel that. And my answer is that a student athlete that's going to wrestle for TCNJ has to know it. They got to know it as a junior. They have to know that they want to come and do schoolwork and wrestle hard and have fun and be part of what we got going on. And the best way for us to get guys in, because we're so academic and our admissions process is so difficult, is early decision. And if guys decide that they want TCNJ, then and they can do it early, they're going to have a major leg up on getting in the door, which is sometimes the hardest thing. We'll keep you here. You'll do well once you're here. You'll get a job after college. Sometimes getting in the door is the hardest thing. And I think that's what ICE meant when he said that I wouldn't really like recruiting after a while. And that's where that story was going was. I told him that I enjoyed the recruiting process and that I liked telling people our story. And he told me after a while that, I wouldn't really like recruiting, that that would be hard. You would lose guys that you really wanted to get on your team. And we definitely have that happen. But if there's guys that are doing their schoolwork and they're focused on being the type of person that they're going to have to be in college to succeed here, and that means a true student athlete, someone that wants to do their schoolwork, they want to wrestle hard every day, and they want to live that lifestyle, then they can absolutely get in here and impact our program.
When you get into the coach's corner for the first time, 2011-12, you end up being the rookie coach of the year in Division III. Mike Denver wins it for you in lacrosse. And then you've got 4 more trips to the final since then, and you haven't had the chance to get that second champ. What is the feeling like from an athlete's perspective, sitting there missing out on it so closely in the finals, and then having to sit through that 4 times as well? Like, I'm so, you went out there, you want to wrestle for the kid.
So have you looked up who we lost to in the finals? We lost to Kolchitsky, who's a guy who's wrestling freestyle. We lost to Joe Rao, who's on the ladder, and our guy in the U.S. We lost to one of the Lefevre was another one, and the other Lefevre. So our guys that basically, and that was Brian Broderick was a New Jersey State place winner, and he was a 2-time national finalist for us. He's the one that lost to Lefevre in overtime. Riley, who just won 4. So that was one of the losses, and then Broderick lost to Rao also. And again, he's the Greco guy.
And he's been on a world team.
Right,
he
now.
Won the Olympic trials. No big deal.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right now.
He's eating a lot.
And,
a D3 guy, a D3 guy, Elmhurst.
Yeah. So we're losing to quality guys, and our guys are coming from Jersey, and they're probably not state place winners. We're doing a lot with them. We're taking them from guys who haven't done it before to being All-Americans and national finalists and national champs. So I think you got to keep giving yourself opportunities and keep the guys in there. So I have a freshman right now who's an All-American at 74. His name's Dan Kilroy. He's got a great opportunity the next 3 seasons to make his mark. And obviously our goal for him is to get a little bit better every day. And if he does that for 3 seasons, he's going to have himself, he's going to be right in the thick of it. And we also got a couple guys who you don't know their name because they didn't place in the state, and they're training and they're doing the right things, and they've got opportunities to go in and make some noise just like the guys before them. So we're real excited about the future. And I keep looking around the room and you see guys, and none of them are seniors. And the only thing I can think of is the future is bright. The future is very, very bright for our program.
Well, the future's been bright, but the history has also been bright. We've talked about that a little bit, but you sent me this note that, and I had to go back and make sure we were on the right page because you've put out 47 straight years. TCNJ / Trenton State has produced a college All-American. 47 years. That's obviously a program goal to continue that streak.
Absolutely, and you look at major coaches, and I don't like basketball, but I was so hard to not watch Golden State last year when they were going on their tear, and records. Not that they're meant to be broken or that they're there to be shattered, but I want the best for each individual, and it's great that we keep putting one on top of another, and we've done it for 47 years. I think it's such a special thing because there's so much that goes into it, and I'm just thinking staying healthy and having the ability and getting the call and just doing all the right things at the right time. There's definitely some luck involved, but these guys are giving themselves opportunities and putting themselves in situations to take advantage of this great accomplishment of being an All-American. It's so very special. So don't want to take anything away from it, but we focus on each guy, and if we can get guys to have opportunities and take shots at it, we're definitely going to be right there and be in the mix. So to have it be accomplished is great, but don't talk about, hey, we have to do this because we have to keep this record going. I think that puts undue stress and pressure on the guys, and it's not anything that they can control. They can just do the best that they can. They can take it one step at a time and get a little better each day. And if that equals out to being an All-American, then we're super proud of them. And if they, I don't want to say die trying, but if they give it their all and they fall a little short, we're still gonna stand there and clap for them. So I'm real proud of how they've been going after it and kind of staying with it, chasing their dreams down.
What is the measure of success for you as a coach for this program?
I keep telling them I want them to be academic All-Americans, and it's real similar to the 47 streak in that there's got to be so many things that go right for your season. And when you factor in that they have to wrestle a certain amount of matches, that's going to speak to their health and how they perform with their weight loss and their lifestyle, their diet. If you talk about their winning percentage, they have to be successful on the mat, and they have to actually win bouts. They have to have strategy and perseverance. And they have to be in great condition. So then obviously the last thing, or the first thing, would be the academics. They've got to do their schoolwork. Having over a 3.2 GPA at our college for 2 semesters in a row is no easy task. And it seems like even if you have an easy semester, that means maybe you only have 3 or 4 classes, and they're not the hardest ones that your major is going to offer. So these guys really have to stay focused in order to do that. And I know the spring is super tough. The season just finished, and you want to spread your wings a little bit, and you want to take advantage of being a normal student instead of a student athlete. But these guys are focused, and they're going to class. They're doing well academically and putting themselves into position to clean up some accolades for next year. So returning 4 academic All-Americans next season, I think that's the most that we've ever returned, and that's the goal for the team. If you're on the team and you're not chasing that goal, I'm not really sure where your head's at or what's going on. So I think all guys can use that as a point of reference and be shooting for that.
What are the benchmarks for success that your administration places on you as a coach for the health of the program and the success of the program?
Well, that's an exciting part of next year. The athletics department is going to be looking to name a new athletic director. I would say within the next 2 months. We're deep in the search. We have a great search firm, and they're doing a lot of due diligence, a lot of work to help to get us the right person, get someone in here and really take charge. So I can't wait to talk to the new AD about our vision and where we want to take the team, what we want to do with them, and how we want to do it. I think anytime you get to share that with someone that's going to represent you in more meetings around campus, obviously the better. So definitely can't wait to share that news with them and get on the same page with our new athletic director. And when that happens, we'll be smooth sailing. We'll be in good shape.
TCNJ is one of a handful of schools in Division III that actually have a championship banner. The last one coming in 1987, which none of your athletes, well, I don't know, every now and then you get that old guy in D3 that shows up, but none of your athletes currently were even born when that situation occurred back in 87. What is it going to take for, whether it be TCNJ or a program in the East or in a non-Iowa, Minnesota area, to knock off Wartburg and Augsburg?
I think you have some teams that are doing a great job and making a great effort. Obviously, Wartburg has a great hold on how to do it, and their recipe for success speaks for itself. I think here at the college, we need to buckle down, and we need to have five guys get in there and really fight at nationals. We need to qualify more than that, and you're looking at anywhere between 8 and 10, but qualifiers don't get it done. It's the guys that put points on the board, and if you have 5 guys that are competitive and they're in the top 5, then you're going to be right there. I think we also need to have some parity. There needs to be a couple teams that are able to do that, and we're going to knock off teams almost together, and the race is going to come down to a point or two. And I think right now, to win the first one, that's how you're going to have to do it. And I know TCNJ won. They've won by a quarter of a point before. They've won by the lowest of margins, and that's good for us. That's a good thing because we stay in there and we stay after it. We win tough matches. We win in the blood rounds. And if that's how you have to win your national title, then I would pick us all day. We're smart athletes, and when you have smart athletes, if you can get them in good shape and you can get them firing off good high percentage technique, I don't think that can be solved. So staying healthy, keeping them motivated, and at the right weight class, I think it's very possible. Messiah has done a great job. I mean, looking back to just when we would duel them, Brian Brunk has taken them so far. Looking at Wabash and what Anderson's doing out there, they're doing a great job. It's just I see us close to that. I see us making those steps. Marty Nichols every year at Ithaca, very, very impressive, and impressed with how he handles his business and how he gets his guys in there and tunes them up into great athletes. So I think our time is coming, and hate to put the cart before the horse, but I think we keep our head in it. We don't look to the left or right, and we stay on it, and good things are going to happen.
What are some things that you've liked about Division III and its growth, and how the NCAA has treated not just the member institutions but the championships as a whole?
Absolutely, we go there and we get I have to say very similar treatment to what we see at Division I's, which I go to every year, and the arena is just bigger. There's it's a little more popular. They're getting more fans in there, but the way they treat us and the way they roll out the nationals is excellent. Even even our regional events have been good in the past, and it was it was a fun thing to go from the conference tournament, which was just a couple local teams, to having a regional. And I know that there's a lot of talk about regionalization, and they're gonna align teams differently and all that. I think we'll figure all that out, and it's definitely up for discussion. It needs to be changed a little bit, but you got to be careful what you wish for. I really like how we compete and how we qualify. I'm sure that there could be little tweaks and little changes, but for the most part, we get treated great, and it's awesome to be a part of such a special time in wrestling, where the sport, it gets better every year. There's a better product on the mat every single year, and you really have to stay up with the times and the techniques to keep yourself in it. So, very, very exciting time to be part of college wrestling.
Now, New Jersey kind of takes maybe an unnecessary brunt of this next topic, and the rules have changed over the years that injury time now is a choice, and there's a deterrent. But was that one of those things? You're like, man, you guys out there, you better not throw that whirly bird, that Jersey tornado. I do not want to hear East Coast timeout at this tournament.
Holy cow, man! We used to get it hard. I didn't know what it was when I came over from Ryder. I had no idea what an East Coast timeout was. And we go to the nationals the first year, and they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it for sure." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And when I heard it for the first time, you start laughing, but it gets pretty serious. So I like those rules. I think they're doing fine with them, and kind of missed the East Coast timeout. It was funny, and I don't want to mention the other team from Jersey that's disbanded now. I think they used to pull the most, but I got a good smile on right now, and I'm thinking of my buddy. I'll have to razz him a little bit later today.
Yeah, that may or may not be a red and white school, correct?
It may or may not be. Yes.
Don't know anything about Montclair. So
my one of my very good friends was their last All-American, and we always joke about, we always have a good back and forth. So I'll have to reach out to him.
The first guy ever taught me what it was called, the Jersey tornado, was my buddy Dennis Whitby from Lacey Township. So Whitby's like, a little whirly bird.
Yeah.
He was saying, in high school, man, we got one, man. I was like, all right, yeah. They say, what's time? Okay, a little Jersey tornado. So moving away from the East Coast timeout. Now, when we look at the upcoming sites for the NCAA championships, they've just been announced. Cleveland will host next year. We knew about that. Roanoke Ferrum College is putting in a bid, new program. Then we're going back to Cedar Rapids, Lacrosse, and Cedar Rapids. Those are some great wrestling towns.
Awesome, man. Yeah, really excited. I think Cleveland's going to be awesome, and a lot of excitement going out there. Ferrum has done a great job hosting. They've hosted our regionals the last couple times, and the arena down there is top notch. So, great spot. I hope they get that. And is that confirmed? Did they get that?
Yeah, Roanoke in 2019.
Yep, perfect. And going back to Cedar Rapids is always, it's probably the best place to have the nationals. Really enjoy it. And it doesn't feel like wrestling season unless you're going to Iowa. So, those other years we'll have to make a trip. We'll have to stop out and do a Warburg if we can.
Speaking of duels, one thing we haven't touched on yet, but it was a program notable. You're talking about history and the record, 700 wins. You eclipsed that mark this year. How important was that for you in the program?
Just really special. We did it at the national duels, and it was something that we obviously knew was coming. It's hard not to see it and want to count things like that. The guys, the way they handled their business was really special, and just nice to have them be a part of it. And then when you do something like that, you just think back to all the guys that ever came in the room, because the duels aren't just one, at the match. Obviously they are, but they're one in the room. They're one with your training partners. They're one, with guys helping each other and making each other better. So every guy that's been a part of the program gets a little piece of that, and that's what's special. Called David Eisenhower Jr. right away, and it just said, we just won 700. I think it's an awesome thing, and just thinking about your dad, and I talked with him for like 5 or 10 minutes, and just really neat to have that relationship still with Junior. So I thought about Ice a lot when that happened, and about the alumni, about the guys who got us there and have won all those matches, 700 matches. It's unbelievable. That's a great accomplishment. And then you look down, and Springfield won 1,000, and another coach at TCNJ has won 1,000. She's women's coach for field hockey and lacrosse, and won her 1,000th career win. So people doing special things, and I'm glad that TCNJ is in that conversation. TCNJ Wrestling is in there doing great things.
All right, now we got to ask the New Jersey questions because that's always it is cliche, but it's also part of the culture. Where you're growing up, are you calling it Taylor ham or pork roll?
Pork roll.
Thank you.
South Jersey.
That is the correct answer. I don't care what you folks near New York could say. Okay, so what's the deal with jug handles for people that don't know? There are very few left turns in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think you just got to breathe, man. I don't think it's too bad to keep your eyes open and just kind of find your way. The circles were harder, and I think they're getting rid of more circles around Jersey. But the jug handle, you just kind of stick with it. Know where you're going, follow the signs, and take a deep breath. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
All right, Wawa, Turkey Hill, or Sheetz, which is your preference?
Wawa's right down the street. Every time you turn around, Wawa's there. It's the go-to. They're putting one down about a couple miles from the colleges. And I was going to tell you, we try not to get into the South Jersey, North Jersey, but we're in Central Jersey right now, man. We're in the middle of the state, and they don't have Wawa around here. They have Quick Check and 7-Eleven, so we don't really do the Wawa scene too often. But the fact that they're putting one in not upsetting me too much.
Well, I'm from Virginia, and the fact that there's no 7-Elevens here in Minnesota is unnerving. I mean, I went back to Virginia last week, and I was like, oh, Slurpee, finally. I haven't had a Slurpee in like 5 years. All right, and now the Turnpike Parkway, what exit?
Oh, man, we're 30 on the Parkway. We're down in South Jersey at home, but up in Trenton, we're 295, so I don't even use the Parkway. We don't use the Turnpike. We go Parkway, Expressway to 295, and 295 is a great resource to get from South Jersey to Central Jersey, and then also down to Philly. So if you haven't hit 295, check it out. Stay off that Turnpike.
Yeah, and how old were you when the first time you were actually physically able and legally allowed to pump your own gas?
It must have been 17 plus and not in New Jersey, that's for sure. I don't know, man. First time I crossed the border and started running on E. That's a good question. Never thought about it.
Like, okay, you're just sitting in your car for 20 minutes going, anybody gonna help me here?
You just gave me a good visual of that 96 Jeep Grand Cherokee that I was rocking.
Dude, I had an 81 El Camino. Yeah, it was
probably pretty sweet right now.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pimped out. I could have gone Seaside Tony on it, but I didn't feel like doing that. Oh, a little Seven Mines reference for anybody out there in Jersey that understands that reference. So, Joe, if you want to tell folks out there how can they can follow the program, social media, what things you guys got on the burner. You've got Hall of Fame banquets and athletic banquets coming up as well, and administration exams. How can the wrestling community follow TCNJ Wrestling on Twitter and Facebook, etc.?
So we're at TCNJ_wrestling on both Twitter and Instagram. It's the best way to follow us. The official College of New Jersey Wrestling on Facebook is also a great way. We have camp coming up. We're going to be having camp June 25th through the 28th. You can actually sign up if they log on and they want to be part of your daily newsletter, which I think is great. Really appreciate you putting that out and keeping us all in line. Make sure we know what the buzz is with wrestling all over the world. So thanks for doing that. If you sign up for Jason's newsletter, you'll be able to get info on Lions Wrestling Camp, which we're proud to be part of.
Yeah, it's mattalkonline.com/news. Email delivered daily, TCNJ Wrestling Camps. Proud supporter of that mailing list, and it is every day. I mean, you're getting stuff from all over. I mean, I had some Nigerian links in there today about Daniel Igali, and then stuff for the U.S. Open, and then stuff from everywhere. So just hint, nudge, nudge. Yeah,
you're saving me big time, man. If I miss a day, I'm still in real good shape. So appreciate that.
All right, Joe Galante, the head coach at TCNJ here on the Ice Hour. Best of luck to your program, and we'll see you sooner than later.
JB, thanks so much. Thanks for calling today, buddy. Have a great one.
Show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.